Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It is August 25th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this is going to wrap it up for the week. No chart lesson on Fridays anymore. We'll be back again to do it on Monday after today, but today was just a range day. You can see the range for the most part. This was your highs up here, your overnight. You can see your overnight highs here. That pretty much was what you had a little failed breakout up here. Um, and then these were your overnight lows. That pretty much, we went below it a few times, but it never stayed below it. So um, most all your trades were in between. And this was far enough apart where you could trade the trends in between. So you can see that there's a channel here, and then there's a two-tiered channel coming down. It's a shorter term one right in here. So pretty straightforward day, really. You can see this channel is working up. We had a break, a couple of legs up to a new high, and then we're working down. And we didn't get a break till right before the close. So all we did was really finally bounce off the lows and head back to the highs. So um, not too difficult a day. Hopefully everybody had a good trading day. Let's talk about the trades. There was nothing early on. There was one right here that you might have considered taking. Um, Notice how prices are coming down. Then we start working up. You get this is all a double, triple bottoms. This is basically like one low. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It didn't, if it would have broke straight lower, you were looking to enter there, but it ended up going higher and then turning out and going out. So I like entering there. You just got to make sure you got enough room to get out before you get really. You're mostly concerned about the low, but you're still concerned about those closes too. So this one actually could be, it's almost red. The main reason I didn't change it is because you can see the move up. We got a close outside, but we never got a new high, so you have to be a little bit concerned about that one. Um, and then there's some, it looks like you're getting some traps here on the low side, but really all they're doing is just going sideways there. Look at all those moves sideways, stems on both sides. You can't get low into that overnight low. You can't get short into that overnight low. And you got to be careful getting long here because you don't have much room back up to these highs and stuff. And so I think you just got to sit this one out. When it broke lower here, you might have considered going long here, but this bar is not bullish enough. I wouldn't go long above that one. And this one looks great, but it's so big, it's right into the EMA that I don't think I would risk that one either. So, and plus it's back into the support, which is still holding as resistance at this point. So I think you got to skip that one. And then you're just kind of working sideways again. Um, it's tempting to want to go short here, but you don't have a break of this trend line coming up. I may have that a little bit. It's probably more like that right there. You do get a close outside a new high here. So you might have considered entering up here, and that's a failed breakout as well. But again, it's not a very good bar. That one probably should be green. It really should. But, I just don't think it's, if it was a big bearish bar with enough room to get out before you came back, I'd say take that one. But it's just not a very good setup. It just wasn't a very good setup this morning. We're just kind of stuck in this little range, and there's no real good setups until finally you come back, and then it bounces right here again. Look how many times it's bounced there. And that's what you want to see really before you get long off this low, is for it to come back and it hold again. And that's a fairly bullish bar. There's no break of that trend line coming down there yet, but honestly, it could be right off those closes a little closer. And then you possibly got a close outside and a new low. But the fact that it's bouncing off of this, I like it just to try to ride it back up to the upper side. It actually pushes on through, pulls back, and this is like a little breakout pull back long. And that's another nice bullish bar. And that's the third touch of that trend line. The only reason I made this one green is there's not, you're right at those highs. It is like a breakout pullback, but there's not much room to here. This is the one you really got to be worried about, but this one is a concern as well. Um, you're not always as worried about this second entry. This is a second entry long. Notice the pullback first entry, pullback second entry. So this one is very close to being blue, and you might even could argue for them. It's right there on the borderline. You probably could even argue for that one to be blue. And you can see it was a great setup. They trapped some longs there, and look at that big bar go. And then of course you turn that off the trend line. You get a second entry short. But we're working up now. We're not to the highs, so we're more or less looking for longs. And actually, I forgot. I missed a mark one here. Should have had this one marked. Notice the new high, pullback first entry, pullback second entry. It's the first break of this trend line. By this time, this one going up was pretty obvious. It wasn't so obvious right in here. I think you really confirmed it here, but this was still going sideways, so I wanted to see another touch of it, and you got it here. And you can see by that time now you've turned down twice off the top, so you got enough evidence by this time that this is probably a good channel. So this is a really big bar, and really it doesn't trigger till it breaks above this one, but this is still really your signal bar, and your stop has to go below here. So you might let it break high and try to limit order just to get a tick or so back. Just make sure you got enough room to get out before here, because you see it went one tick further and then it's backing up again. And so you got to be careful with this one. This one really is close to being green. But if you can get in with enough room to scalp out before these highs, then I'm okay with it. Then, of course, you pull back first entry, pull back second entry. This is the first break of the trend channel, and we still aren't up to the high, and that's our target. So I like going long right there. And then it looks like it's giving you a short trap, and all it is it pulls back and gives you another entry right there. And again, you got enough room to get out, so I like it, and it takes off again. I don't think you want to go long here. It's really tempting to go long here, and you could, if you can get in with enough room to get out before here. And you couldn't on my chart, but if you could get in way down here where you got enough room, I like that one, just because it's a double test there. So you push through and you test it twice, and then it's tempting to want to make this a short, but you don't have enough room to get out really before coming back here. If you could, that would be another one that you could mark. Doesn't work out on my chart. I'll make it green. If you had a nice bearish bar and plenty of room, I'd say take that one. But notice how it kind of goes sideways, and this is basically a doji here. So that's enough reason to leave it alone, at least on my chart. Pulls, comes back down, it bounces, and it gives you a second entry short here, but it's right back into that support. And then you get your failure right there. You could almost enter there as well, but I think it was better to wait for it to come through and test it from the other side and then turn down. Again, and notice that you could look at that as a trap, but it's right at the EMA. It's right into that trend line. It might push up one more time. It's just too risky, I think. But when it pushes on through and pulls back and gives you this big bearish bar, I like that one. I'd let it break lower and maybe use a limit order, break lower here, and then try to get in. And it would have come back here and filled you before it went lower. It did pull back again here, and there's actually a shorter term trend line working down here. But you had a close outside of here in a new low, so that's why I didn't really like that one. Although this is a range day, so you could expect it to possibly go all the way back down. It would have worked, but you can only see that after the fact. And if you're looking at that from the hard right side of the chart, well, you've already had your close in a new low, and you can see what's going on there, that we might push up again and test this underside. A lot of times you'll get a double test, and it does come back. You would have had enough to get out, but you won't always get enough to get out before it comes back again. When it comes back and gives that double test and gives that big bearish bar, I like entering there, because now we're back inside, and plus that confirms that trend line right there on those two swings, and then it gives you a second opportunity. If you miss that one, you can get in here and you could actually add on. I like adding on there. Unfortunately, you don't get two runners that go very far. It comes back once again, but now you got a failed second entry long and a trap, and it's right off the trend line again. Just go short there, and that's the trade of the afternoon right there. Look at that thing go. I mean, that's just real quick and very strong sell-off. And I would look for it to probably come back down here at a minimum, but you also want to measure that leg. And that'll get you at least here, but I would look for it to come back down here and test these lows, which it does, and you get a break here, and then a second entry short, big bearish bar. You got to go short here, but your signal bar is this one, obviously, so you got to put your stop there. You may not could have got in that one. This one you could treat like a failed break lower because it held, this support held again, so this is going to be like a failed break lower. That's a nice bullish bar. So if you could get in it with a stop there with enough room, and you might have had a little better setup than me, and if you did, you might could even consider that being blue. But then it pulls back and tests that trend line again. Same thing. Now you got more room here and a nice bullish bar, so you might try it again, and then it pulls back and goes out the other side again. So you figure it's probably going to trap everybody. That your entry is right above. That gets you in maybe a tick above. I'd let it break higher with a stop. You had to be a little concerned about this being into the EMA, but it's really looking like it's about to bottom, and this has been a range day. Although we do have this channel coming down too, so that's enough reason to make all these green anyway. It's late in the day, but there's some reasons to argue for those. So they're just kind of borderline type trades, but they do fit the rules for enough reason to go long. And then you actually get a failed second entry short here, but you can't go long right into that resistance, and then it turns up and you get another chance here. But again, there's not much room before this support here, so the only way to enter this is if you can, it breaks lower, then you can get in with a limit order enough to get out. Otherwise, you probably got to skip it. But it did push through twice, so there's a good chance it's going to push through. But this late in the day, with not much time left to 2 o'clock and not a better signal bar than that, I say just probably skip it. So, but I marked it so we could talk about it. But yeah, there's a couple trades in here that there's one or two trades that's all you needed today because you got a good runner on them both. This trade and this trade both would have had a nice runner. You might have got a runner on this one and looked to exit at the upper side if you were kind of watching for the channel there. So yeah, pretty decent day. Not maybe the volume is going to come back and pick up here before too long. It's been a while since it's really been this slow, but at least we're getting some movement now. There was a week or so there we didn't get hardly anything at all. But it seems to be, as we go into the fall, usually the market rallies pretty well. So we'll see if it's going to do that this fall or not. We'll just have to see. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, no chart lesson tomorrow. If the weather's nice here, I'll be playing golf tomorrow. I'm actually going to be leaving, just to give everybody a heads up. I'm going to be leaving Labor Day weekend to go on a golf trip out in Arizona. So I'll be gone that whole week of the 5th through the 9th, I believe it is. I'd have to look at my calendar. So just to give you a heads up, yeah, I'll be gone. I won't be trading that week, the 5th through the 9th. I'll be on vacation. So just a little heads up on that. And otherwise, we're done for the day. So I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it Monday. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.